Well, the website healthcare.gov is getting a bit of a checkup 2 months after its disastrous launch. The Obama administration says the site is now running smoothly, but still needs a lot of work. Healthcare.gov reportedly can handle up to 50,000 users at once. This comes as more Americans are receiving notices that their current individual and employer-provided healthcare insurance plans will not be available in January. Yeah, the word I believe we want to use there is canceled. Political insider, former New York Congressman John LeBoutillier joins us now. And you at home can weigh in on our conversation.
Right.
Tweet us at FN Insiders or at Harris Faulkner. Before we even get into politics, you're from New York, and I know you have some thoughts. I saw you kind of clutching your heart a little bit as we were looking at that train.
I go on the Long Island Railroad to come into New York. It's a different line than that, but same thing, really. Same cars, same type of cars. And I was worried about it tonight coming in here. Well, could this happen on our line? What a thing. You don't have seat belts. You're just sitting there loose. Can you imagine when the car turns, the people flying, the bags flying, the injuries, the screaming? Oh, it's awful. Yeah. Awful.
God bless those people tonight, the survivors. Well, let's talk politics. Let's talk about this website. You know, I'm curious because we don't have any hard data yet, and it's been kind of slow to trickle down since this thing first launched October 1st. So will Republicans who've advocated scrapping the whole Obamacare plan then now push for data, hard data on how things are going now?
Yeah, well, they've been having hearings on the reconstruction of the website, and they're going to have hearings try to push the administration, who will not give out the sign-up data unless it's good. Obviously, they held off telling us about October till way into November. I'm sure they'll do the same thing now, and I'm sure the numbers will get somewhat better. They have to get better. They can't be worse. But it's not.
Well, even the president told Barbara Walters that. He said, well, it can only go up from here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the first day, October 1st, 6 people in America signed up for this thing out of 320 million. I mean, you can only get better. But that's not really the issue. The website is just the tip of a bad iceberg, really. I think that the program is no good. The government telling you you have to buy something and that you can't have what you want, and then telling you probably can't go to the doctor you want, how is that ever going to work, Harris, politically? It's not going to work.
That really simplified it, and it took Democrats, Republicans, it took everybody out of the wash, and you just said the words that people have been listening for. Can I keep my own plan if I don't like what you're going to try to sell me? There's some other really big numbers out there, and before I go on, the president, when he was talking about things can't go up from here, I believe was talking about his approval rating. We'll get to that in a moment, too. 50 to 100 million workers, I'm reading, are losing their insurance in 2014. Now, I know the president has tried to force insurance companies not to let that happen, to give them more time. I don't even know if administratively he can legally do that. But what other options are there?
Well, that report came from the American Enterprise Institute saying that in October of this 2014 coming year, small businesses will have to discontinue those 50 to 100 million people, workers, from getting their health plan. When that was announced last week, I can tell you that every Democrat running for re-election this coming year had a heart attack. They said, oh my God, a month before the election, half of my constituents are going to get a letter from their insurance company telling them you're out. And that would be the biggest wipeout of the Democratic Party in an election we've ever seen. That's what they're facing if they don't change this thing, or I think what they're going to do is try to delay the whole thing past the election.
You know, there are numbers that have come out, and Fox News has done this polling as well to see whether or not people are feeling like taking this issue to the ballot box. And I want to show everybody about trustworthiness and where this administration is. 55% of people who were surveyed in this Fox News poll earlier this month say that they feel like the administration has tried to deceive them about what's really in the Affordable Care Act. That's problematic, not just for this president, but it becomes an election talking point, I would imagine, at some point.
Well, because the Democrats,
if it holds.
The Democrats voted for it, and no Republicans in 2010, not one in the House or Senate, voted for this thing. So they have high ground to criticize it. But like you talked about with us the other Sunday nights, and with Congressman West on Friday night, I saw you talking to him, the Republicans still need an alternative. When they let Obamacare crash and burn, to be responsible, they need to say, we have a plan. that we think will work better. And I've yet to hear that out of the unified Republican Party.
You know, you say that, and then I check my Twitter page, and I hear from people who say, well, we don't want an entire new plan. Why can't we just take it back to what we had? Is that an option?
No, because there are things in here that we are now going to like. For instance, the two things that everybody's going to like are an insurance company cannot turn you away because of a pre-existing condition, and your children can stay on your policy till they're 26 years old. Those two things were put in and enacted before the 2012 election because the Democrats knew they're popular. And the Republicans do not want to be the ones to say we're taking that away. So those things are going to stay.
Let's talk a little bit more about this issue, though, of trustworthiness and how much stickiness that's going to have. A familiar defender and salesman of the president, former White House advisor David Plouffe, said today, you know, he's confident that in a few months they can turn this thing around and those numbers that are stacked against the president and people not trusting him will turn around.
Okay, for that to happen, and it's not impossible, people have to be able to sign up, be happy with what they're getting, pay less than they were before, keep their doctor, keep their prescriptions, go to the hospital, go to the doctor, mom has to be able to go for some test, and everything's got to go well. If something doesn't go well, Harris, they're going to blame it on Obamacare, and they're going to be ticked off because of it.
A couple of things coming from Twitter. John Mayer says, and I think that's how I say his last name on my Twitter page, says, customers are screaming, but where's the outrage from the health insurance companies having to drop millions of customers? Not a peep.
Well, we haven't heard from them. You're right. Now, they did meet with the president 2 weeks ago, and they were very bland
I wonder how that went.
When they came out. Maybe they're holding their fire on purpose. We don't know.
We don't know. Daily Gallup, 52% disapproval. This comes out at 1 p.m. Eastern every day, and it's something that we watch. We can put those numbers up on the screen. These numbers have pretty much been sitting like this for a while now.
Yeah. Well, he's ruined his first year of his second term. This thing has destroyed this and some other things. He's got nothing done, and anything else he wants to get done hangs in the balance because of those numbers.
Is there contagion, do you think?
Oh, I definitely. And I think Democrats are the ones that the contagion is going to infect. Republicans are sitting there very happy that the president's declining. But when the Democrats feel he's radioactive, that's when things are going to really deteriorate quickly.
One last thing, and a change of topic, a big one. I want to talk about Iran and Israel for a second here.
Yeah.
The dust settling, I would imagine now, or at least mine's getting around what this deal is going to be like. Iran has said all along they're going to allow us to enrich uranium. And
Right.
then today, someone we heard from who knows this sort of thing said basically the same thing to Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. Let's watch and then I'll get your response.
We have accepted Iranian uranium enrichment. There is no question about that. That's a different red line than we used to have.
All right.
It's true. If you read the report, if you read the 4-page agreement, it does say that the future negotiation that's going to happen in 6 months involves determining the level of enrichment. Therefore, they're allowed to enrich.
What I was going to ask, General Hayden, though, is dropping the words red line.
Right.
And all anybody can think of is, well, when this president said red line before he backed away from it, is he right about the fact that now we've kind of moved the line and Iran is allowed to do so much more? Can we get that line back to where it needs to go?
Probably not. I think once you've opened the door of lifting sanctions, the Iranians are going to go and drive through that door, and other people are going to try to make money off the Iranians. There's big money to be made in
We've got
oil
the big
business.
oil companies that are just waiting to get in there.
Absolutely. But sitting over there is two things. Congress wants to put more sanctions on, and we'll see when they come back where they're at with that. And Israel and Saudi Arabia are together in a military alliance looking at the possibility of attacking.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quickly, Republicans, how hard will they push, or will it be mostly bipartisan? How do you see it coming for those sanctions? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's bipartisan. The Democrats are leading the charge. Harry Reid, who's supposed to be allies with the president, he's leading the charge to put stronger sanctions on, which might actually be a good thing. Vote them in the House and Senate. The president will not sign it, but it hangs there as a stick to hold over the Iranians. If they don't do a good agreement in 6 months, bang, the harder sanctions go back in play.
Yeah, no carrot from John LeBoutillier.
Oh, the carrot is give up your weaponization of nuclear materials, and you can rejoin the world a little bit.
John, good to have you. Thank you for
Harris.
coming in as the sole insider tonight.
My pleasure.
Awesome.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
You
Thank
too. Thank you. And you can continue the conversation with John and the rest of the political insiders on Twitter and on our website every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I love the live programming. Fabulous. Live.foxnews.com. Don't miss it.